Hello everyone, this is Caleb Simpson, and you're watching my walkthrough for The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild for Nintendo Wii U and Switch. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to complete the Yiga secret hideout and retrieve the Thunder Helm, which is part of the main quest that leads to Vah Naboris, one of the 4 Divine Beasts. Now, in order to do this, though, you do need to complete the Forbidden City entry main quest, which I completed in an earlier video in the walkthrough. So, if you'd like to see how to do that, then refer to the link in the description. Now, once you've done that, this will give you access to the Gerudo Vale, Top, and Surwall, which will allow you to enter Gerudo Town. So equip them, and run straight ahead to meet up with the Gerudo Chief, Riju.
Yet another traveler. How did you get in here? Oh. Seems you have something rather interesting there.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Oh.
Huh?
Oh.
So once you finish your conversation with Chief Riju and Buliara, you can then swing over to the right and talk with Captain Teak, who will inform you that the Yiga hideout is hidden in Karusa Valley to the north. This will update our quest, and that's all we really had to do here, but Teak will also tell the other nearby soldiers to share any information that they might have with you. The only thing that's super notable here is just that apparently one of them, named Barta, went to investigate the hideout on her own, and she hasn't returned, and that was 2 days ago. So it's quite likely that she has been captured, so we'll just have to keep an eye out for her once we get there. Karusa Valley is just north of Gerudo Town, and they recommend taking a sand seal to get there. However, our destination is actually at the end of the valley, and the fastest way to reach that point is to just fall down from above. So, what I'd recommend you do is instead just place a pin at this location right here, and then warp over to Wasteland Tower and then head north, or warp over to Katakar, and then take the northern path and sail down to that same location. This will allow you to bypass most of the traps and enemies, but you'll probably still have a few Yiga to deal with anyway. Otherwise, if you want to take the long way and have the full, genuine Breath of the Wild experience, then you first want to go get a freebie shield that you don't mind sacrificing. I'd recommend going to Ridgeland Tower. It's just west of it is a nice shield that reappears every blood moon. It has decent armor rating, durability, it's disposable. I just like using these things for sand seals and shield surfing so that I can save the durability on my more valuable shields for combat instead. Anyway, if you decide to go this route, then go steal yourself a sand seal outside of Gerudo Town, or just about any of the shrines or the fairy fountain here in Gerudo Desert, then stun it with bombs or sneak up on it, and then use it to reach the valley to the north. Alternatively, you just know that you can rent the sand seals from the chick that is just outside of Gerudo Town for 20 rupees. Domesticated seals like that don't run away from you after you stop using them, which is kind of nice if you're exploring around the desert and using them repeatedly. For this quest, though, I don't think it matters. Once we arrive, we're done using the sand seal anyway, so I think just stealing one is fine. The valley itself is filled with boulder traps and ambushes, and there's also a lot of Korok puzzles along the way, but I'm going to ignore those for now. Once you finally get to the end of the sand, you will have to travel the rest of the way on foot, and once you get close to the hideout entrance, there is a bunch of Yiga that are just outside that you can either defeat or just run past them and ignore them. Unfortunately, because they teleport around, a lot of them will follow you inside, so you'll probably have to deal with them anyway. So either way, whether you warp here or you sealed like a champ, you want to defeat the enemies here, preferably with style, such as lighting these keys on fire for no reason whatsoever. This isn't practical at all, of course, it just makes me really happy. Alright, so next it's time to tackle this puzzle at long last. We need to burn the banners that are on the walls to reveal hidden alcoves. Now you can do this by using the nearby torch, or you can shoot fire arrows at them, or you can save some of your fire arrows by shooting regular arrows through one of the lit torches that are in the middle. This will light the banners as well. You can also light just the tip of your arrow and then just stand close to them, and that'll also work. Otherwise, like flint, red chew jelly, throwing fire weapons, there's a whole bunch of different ways to set things on fire in Breath of the Wild, and some of you pyromaniacs out there are probably more aware of all the options than I am. But anyway, there's only 2 alcoves that we actually care about. The far left one contains a sapphire. Otherwise, the correct banner to burn is if you're facing straight ahead from the entrance, it's the one just to the right. So not quite directly across, just a little bit right of that. Otherwise, another way of saying that is the third one from the far right, if that's easier for you to understand. So far left, third one from the right. Successfully inside the Yiga hideout, you'll find a cage containing Barda, one of Captain Teek's scouts who got captured. She's just here to info dump about the situation, really. All pretty standard stuff, honestly. Thunderhelm up ahead, blah blah. Stealth section, yeah, I've heard it all before. Enemies obviously distracted by bananas. I didn't see that one coming, actually. Everything else seems about right, though. Thanks, lady. You served your country well. Yep, you can just sit back and let a professional flex his adventurous muscles a little bit. Everything will be just peachy. Alright, so first of all, I'd highly recommend you equip the stealth set or use some stealth meals to reduce the amount of noise you make. Now, the enemies here will be alerted to your presence at pretty far away. In regular mode, it doesn't matter too much. You can kind of sneak through here without the stealth buff without too much trouble. But I think it's way more important in master mode. These guys are just so sensitive. It's really hard to get through without them trying to come and find you all the time. So they're constantly huh? And you have to sneak past them. It's awful. So, in Master Mode in particular, I'd highly recommend it. Now, I'm going to show how to do this legit in just a moment. First, I want to show a couple methods to cheese your way through this, in particular by using ancient arrows. And I know that's just downright painful to hear. You're like, oh, it's so expensive, so rare. I don't want to waste them on something like this. But just hear me out for a second. This area is generally considered to be one of the most obnoxious places in the entire game, so if this is just really irritating you and you've done it several times and you're here looking for strategies and stuff like that, I'd seriously highly encourage you to at least consider using ancient arrows. And it's actually not as inefficient as you would expect. Here's the deal. Ancient arrows, what they do is they make enemies disappear, right? And they also make it so that they don't drop any loot. This means that ancient arrows are bad for things like hunting Lynels, because the entire purpose of doing that is to get their loot so that you can either sell them or use them to upgrade some of your armors and stuff. So if that's what you're hunting Lynels for, you're not going to use ancient arrows on them. You can use them on high-level guardians, and it does a pretty decent amount of damage, but in a lot of those cases, you can just use a multi-shot bow and bomb arrows, and I think you're actually better off with that. It's cheaper, it does a decent or similar amount of damage and stuff. It's just not worth it to do ancient arrows for that. So that all being said, the remaining purpose that ancient arrows have at that point is really just to remove enemies that you don't want to deal with. That is what they do. That is what they are made for. So, if you're not going to use them in one of the most obnoxious places in the entire game, just to make this a little easier so you don't have to deal with it, where are you going to use them, you know? So I actually think this is probably one of the most appropriate places to use ancient arrows in the entire game. And since if this is really not your cup of tea and you just want to get it over with and you're frustrated and you just want to move on, then I'd highly recommend you consider using just 1 or 2 ancient arrows in key locations. Makes it a lot easier. And again, this is particularly true in Master Mode because the enemies are so much more sensitive to sound. It makes sneaking through here a lot harder in Master Mode than it is in the regular game. Okay, so showing it legit this time, you want to use stealth armor or food to make sneaking easier. If these guys do see you, they will sound the alarm and then you'll have to fight a bunch of them at once. Now you can defeat them, but they have a ton of life, and if it comes down to that, then a Blizzard Rod and a two-hander is probably your best choice. Otherwise, Otherwise, you're much better off just sneaking past them or sneaking up behind them and performing a sneak strike. Ironically enough, even though these guys have a ton of life, you'll actually one-shot them with sneak strikes regardless of what type of weapon you're using. So considering how much life these guys have, this torch should only tickle them a little bit, but it is one-shotting them, so that's kind of nice. Barda was telling us a little bit ago that we could use Mighty Bananas to distract the guards, and there are all these convenient ledges that you can destroy to force the bros to go and investigate. This creates some openings for you, but you can also just drop bananas on the ground manually and let the guards get a peek at you and then hide around a corner. And when they come to investigate that intersection, they'll then find your pre-placed bananas. It makes it very easy to sneak past them or to create an opening to defeat them, but also just note that Mighty Bananas are very plentiful in Farron, and we can get them quite easily, so don't hesitate to use a whole bunch of them here, or even just make a breadcrumb trail to distract them for an extra long time. Don't hesitate to do that, it's super worthwhile. Also, just be sure to grab that sapphire in that chest in that room before you move on. In the next area, make sure you take the ladder at the end to get the bananas in the chest there. Afterwards, I like to hop down onto the square platform, and here you can either set a spicy pepper on fire to create an updraft to get to the central platform, or you can hop down and sneak strike this guy. I think that's totally worth it, though, because there's a bunch of gems on the barrels down here. It's pretty easy to get spotted in general, however, as long as you get behind cover before too long, they just still don't realize exactly where you are. They have to, stare at you for several seconds before they can even tell who you really are. Seriously, I think all these Yiga are just extremely short-sighted. I'm pretty sure that none of them could legally drive. I actually think it's not a bad strategy to let them get a peek at you on purpose just to lure them into a trap, but bananas are far more effective, just so you know. Just be aware, though, that if you do lure them out of their normal position, that when you're trying to sneak up on one of them to assassinate them, that just make sure you don't get seen by any of the other Yiga that are nearby, because you can easily get yourself into an awkward position. Probably the easiest way to deal with any of these guys in general is just to place some bananas out in the open somewhere that they'll see them. You can actually hide behind some of the blocks and just plop it right around the corner, and they'll be so distracted by that you run around the long ways and you can take them out. But in general, you don't have to place them right in their patrol path. They don't have to actually walk across them or anything. As long as they can kind of see them somewhere where they're looking. The same way that they will spot you and be like, hmm? In the same way, if you place bananas somewhere like that, then they'll be distracted by it for a good long time, and so you can sneak up behind them. Also, in case you didn't know, the platforms that are above, you can easily drop down bananas from above, and then they'll run towards them. This is kind of nice because you don't have to run around all the blocks. You can just sail down and land exactly where you want to, so you can get in a good position where you can assassinate them. Or to get past where they were guarding, you can then get them away from doorways and stuff, and then just sail down exactly where you want to go. Before we move on, there are some hidden goodies in this room, but it's easier to do after you've defeated the enemies first. There's some banners in the southeast corner that you can burn, and the middle one reveals a hidden room with treasure, so gather both of those, and then hop down between the nearby spikes and go up the ladder to find another chest just above the exit doorway. After that, just make sure to grab the other chest that is on the central platform if you haven't done that yet. When you're all done messing around here, you want to head into the next chamber and open all the chests here. There's the obvious one in the middle, as well as several more that you can get out of the sand using magnesis. This will also reveal the fact that there is a metal wall that can be rotated using magnesis too, so go ahead and do that, then heal up and head outside to fight the boss of this area. So the first thing to know about Master Kohga is that you can't attack him through his shield. He will drop the shield for a bit when he summons his rock that he will then fling at you after a moment, but for the sake of the demonstration, I am going to let him use his first attack just to show that you can easily dodge it. But the goal is to shoot him while he's holding the ball above his head so that it lands on top of him. This will stun him and allow you to run over and dish out some pain. This fight has some distinct Zant vibes, doesn't it? I think it's more than just the character design though and the way he talks. The whole pacing of the fight just really feels like a Twilight Princess boss to me. It also kind of occurred to me that this joke fight is kind of meant to make people feel a little bit better after that stressful stealth section. And I think it's actually really smart on Nintendo's part, because it's considered good storyline technique to alternate between tension and calm. And what I mean by that is that if this fight wasn't just after a stealth section, I actually think that psychologically it wouldn't have been as impactful and memorable for most players. It's really smart on their part. For the second phase, he'll then warp to the middle, and you just want to wait until after one of those orbs is directly above him before you shoot, so that it will land on top of you. For this last phase, he'll then use a shield around himself constantly, so we can't shoot him anymore. However, you'll also notice that he will control this giant spiky metal ball by using beams of light that come out of it that look suspiciously like magnesis. Well, two can play at this game. You want to use magnesis yourself to grab it away from him and smash it into him. After Master Koga's humorous demise, a chest will appear containing the Thunder Helm, which is what we were after. So we'll be bringing that back to Riju, but I will be showing all those cinematics and how to enter the Divine Beast in the next video. As always, huge thanks goes out to all of my Patreon supporters for helping to make this possible. And if you enjoyed this and found it helpful, be sure to throw a like on it, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content just like this. Remember to stay awesome, you have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.